Hello there, and we are live. See ya, ladies and gentlemen. You are welcome to another episode of the Arsenal Clinic with Dom and Claude, or Claude and Dom, any which one you want to call it. Yeah, people, it is what it is. See ya, people. All smiles on my face. Of course, you guys know, you know what happened, people. I mean, it is what it is. But of course, we're here to sample opinions and rub minds together with me and my very, very good friend. See, people, welcome back, Dom, to the show, people. The Arsenal Clinic, Arsenal domination down here, people. See, bro, talk to these people, Dom. How you doing, man?
I'm all good, mate. Thank you. Yeah, you're good self. I think we can go with Claude and Dom. You're the big draw in alphabetical order, so you win on both. Speaking of winning, we're getting good at it, right?
Yeah. We're getting good at it. We're getting good at it. See, yeah, Dom. Yeah, I mean, simple, easy. What did you make of that game against Inter Milan? I mean, we shouldn't be rushing into the main course itself, but I mean, I'm itching. I'm really itching to know what you really felt about that game. But please, could you kindly remind me what was your prediction for the game on Rory show?
I expected us. I mean, it was always difficult because you didn't know what side we were going to put. But I expected heavy rotation. I didn't expect us. Well, I wanted heavy rotation. I didn't expect it to be heavy. It was heavy. He made 7 changes, and I
Made
predicted us to
17.
lose the game 2-1 because I thought lots of changes. Let's rest ahead of Manchester United. And admittedly, there's a big gap between them, but United was the key game, and it was our fourth away game. So I was really pleasantly surprised to see us heavily rotate, get a couple of subs off early, like Yuri and Timber, and win the game. I thought, it was absolutely, amazing result, fantastic performance. And I'm absolutely chuffed that both of the things I wanted, which was ideally a win and heavy rotation, happened, and we got the result. I think you could, if I was nitpicking, you'd go, well, Zubimendi and Saka didn't come off, but Saka's been heavily rested in recent weeks, so that's less of an issue. Zubimendi more, but really, really excellent result. How about you? What was your thoughts?
I mean, when we were with Rory on the day, same thing. I was really thinking that, like maybe probably we would rotate, but I never knew that he was gonna rotate like that. I mean, that manager. Yeah. I mean, he rotated, but the rotation had some certain similarities or resemblance to a team that really has that balance. I don't know if you really get what I mean, but there was balance in the defense. We had Mosquera, Saliba was also down there. Yeah, even without the big Gabby, it's still a balanced defense line. Yeah, when you look at it, Mazu with Skelly, yeah, we can say, probably is the one we should be going with down there, if we're to rotate, in a very efficient manner. The midfield, yeah, I mean, see, yeah, you have to give kudos to how Mikel Arteta switched things up. I said that Arsenal, at first, I said Arsenal was likely to lose if we go on that rotation because we're going to one of the most ferocious historic grounds ever, in the history of European football. San Siro, is a fortress. It's that place where you go to, the fans first, give you a drubbing right before the elements, and and the players, deal with you, at the end of it. Well, I mean, it is what it is. On the start of the watch along with Josh, Rory, and Badgers, I actually changed it, in the first minute, from the get go. I said that we might win 1-0, but little did I know that Arsenal was going to conclude it 3 goals to 1. See, Dom, tell us all about that matchup, man, and what you felt about it deeply, kind of like extensively, so that we can get a very, very panoramic view of what you thought about the matchup there.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. There's lots of players in this squad that can come in and play really well. if you go back 2-3 years, and I always use this example, but there were others across the team. You were looking at it going to the likes of Rob Holding coming in when Saliba or Gabriel were out. Steven Lichtsteiner. Players like Nuno Tavares. And I know we signed Nuno Tavares, but when you're 6th, 7th, 8th in the league, and you're signing backup left backs, that's probably the level. Now our backup left back is Miles Lewis-Skelly, who I actually thought had a relatively decent game. Not quite at the level of last season, but that was exceptionally high. But that or Atletico was probably his best performance of the season, right? But we've got the likes of Eza coming in. Probably our weakest backup, if you like, across the team. And I don't like the word backup because I think this team really isn't sort of in that sort of place. And I think what you really want to see with the lineup is a team that actually plays the players that's best give you the best opportunity of beating the opposition. I was talking about this in the week that actually if you've got a team that's going to play really high, you probably want Gabby Martinelli on the left. If you've got a team like Forest that are just going to sit on the edge of their penalty area, you probably want Trossard, just as one example. But if you look at, but for the same sake of this, when you look at backup, Christian Norgard is arguably the weakest backup we have in the side. And that is a former Premier League captain at Brentford. That's not a bad level, as your backup. But I thought Christian Mosquera is a player that went largely under the radar on Tuesday night. He comes in off the back of a relatively long-term injury after a freak accident, and he plays that well against Latino Martinez, who is no scrub at all. He's a very good, very lively, very experienced striker, and I thought he played really, really well. Likewise across the pitch, Eza, arguably the weakest player we had on the pitch on Tuesday, still created a couple of nice moments. He had a couple of decent opportunities. Jesus comes in, scores 2 goals, look really, really good, link the play. You can sort of see how he sort of understands what's required a little bit more than Gyökeres at this moment in time and suits better. But as I've said before, Gyökeres, I like the fact he is that different type of player, which allows us to play differently. And when you see what Gyökeres was able to do with the space that was afforded to him by Inter, you can see how dangerous he can be. And I think that really also sort of speaks to credit to Inter in some ways, because they actually decided to come out and try and play football against us. They left spaces. Not just the City have done that. Liverpool twice have parked the bus as well. And admittedly, so did we in some ways, which is why it's such a tactical affair. But the space between and again, ironically, I recorded this video that I put out on Wednesday morning before the Inter Milan game, but it was quite apt as it happened. The space and difference between the Premier League side and the Champions League side is vast. And you see what happens if you come out and attack us, we can hurt you and we can score goals. Not many teams are going to go to Inter Milan and score 3 goals this season. Equally, if you sit back against us, well, you're not going to create a lot. Bournemouth, again, another team that came out and we scored 3. It doesn't happen very often. You could sort of see how rare it happens in the Premier League compared to the Champions League. But when you do, we've got the ability to hurt you. And Arsenal did that really, really well. I think the only area I thought that we struggled with is that midfield balance wasn't quite right. Mikel Moreno was a little bit overrun at time. He was clearly targeted. I thought he actually played quite well, but he was struggling to sort of get back. And you sort of notice the difference a little bit more because Declan Rice is so quick at going box to box. But Moreno obviously isn't that. I thought he played decently, but could see where Inter Milan were going to quickly play in transition and target that gap that he left.
I felt Moreno was poor, and I like Moreno. I felt he was poor. I felt he gave the ball away quite a few times. I felt he latched onto some certain kind of horrible tackles, on the Inter Milan players most of the time, and he gave the ball away in the middle of the park. And again, I'm not saying we should share the same same opinions about a particular player, but of course, people know me and they know how I've backed Mikel Moreno. But I mean, it was very, very underwhelming from him. I don't know if we were looking at 2 different things on the day, but I felt he gave the ball away lots of times and he fell quite too often, and I felt that the referee kind of like sensed his gains and just completely ignored him. At times when he fell off and was hollering for a free kick, but didn't get any one of that. So I mean, it is what it is. Marino lost the ball from transition, through which they got the goal, and he does this quite often. Whenever I see him in midfield, I'm always very skeptical about about the balance in the midfield some type of way. I, I know he was brought to this football club to be a midfielder, but Mikel Arteta has turned it into something different. If Mikel Marino is coming into the team, I want to see him as an advanced player. I don't want to see him sit down in our midfield because it's kind of too slow. He gives the ball away in the middle of the park, and I'm not down with that. I don't know about you, bro.
Yeah, I mean, look, as I say, I thought he was fairly decent on Tuesday. I don't think he was exceptional. I thought both him and Moreno, not Moreno, he is Moreno, him and Zubamendi did give the ball away a lot. You are absolutely right. And I think that was partly because Inter were very, very quick onto both of those, and you've got to give them some credit there. And I think, the problem I think with Moreno in field, I think you're right, is his pace. I think physically he's fine, but he also does suffer from the fact that he's not Declan Rice, which does make it difficult. I think, for me, I think his natural position is probably at that 8 position because I think he is an offensive threat. But I think there is an argument that in this team, he either needs to be the 6 or he needs to be in a sort of a double a double 8 position. And I think he probably makes better. Is better when he's got Odegaard as the 8 than Eza, and that's not to criticise Eza, but what I mean is Odegaard does more of the press, allows him that little bit more time to get set in position. I don't think it quite works as a makeup when he's got Eza in that central 10, but because as you say, he does like that sort of pace and a little bit cumbersome. But I thought both midfielders struggled gave the ball away a lot, and I think that's partly because Arsenal were trying to get the ball forward quicker, and that obviously means you're taking a little bit more risk. But it was also partly, and you've got to give credit to Inter, I thought that their ability to get at them in that area was really strong, and you sort of saw that sort of ding dong battle in the game where Inter will feel they could have got 2 or 3 themselves. I think Arsenal were rightly winners, but that was the one area there where it wasn't quite right. But I think there is a way you can sort of combat that as well if you have got Zubamendi and Moreno together, because I think it can work. But I think what you're asking is probably Zubamendi to get forward more often, as he has done this season, and Moreno slightly less often. But by which I mean it doesn't have to be Zubamendi getting forward more, but more than Moreno, but more than he did to make that work, because that gives Moreno that sort of few minutes there. Either that, or you do something on that left-hand side to tuck someone in just to deny that space. But it was almost Odegaard from a defensive position we were lacking really, than also offset that balance. It's why I said in the build-up to the Forest game, I felt Forest was an Eza game and Inter was an Odegaard game, and we did it the other way around. But
Yeah, definitely. I mean, see, when you look into that matchup, the ball possession, I mean, they had 51% of the ball possession. We had 49% of the ball possession, innit? Shots, the whole shots, 17 to Arsenal, 18 to Inter Milan. When you check the expected XG, that the XG of Arsenal was 2.14. When you check Inter Milan, it was 1.36. I mean, when you look at that game, we shared almost equally the ball possession. Bro, this was at San Siro. I mean, what kind of smoke is Arsenal on, bro? To go to San Siro and actually stake a claim down there with Inter Milan, that's actually first in the league right now in the Italian Serie A. I mean, if we're playing on an Inter Milan side, that's maybe like let's say maybe in 6th, 5th or something like that. Okay, but this is an Inter Milan that is first, with a young new manager, who is actually coaching them, who is taking them to the top of the league out there in the Italian Serie A. So this is not a poor side we're playing. This is literally, a very, very serious side. and they really, really needed this game, yeah, because their last game in that, I mean, in the group phases,
Dortmund,
it's with
Borussia
Borussia
Dortmund away.
Dortmund.
Yeah,
So they really needed this game, knowing that the next game is equally going to be hotly contested. And now that Spurs actually beat Dortmund, that's gonna be a tug of war when they play it in that one. But I mean, check the stars they had. Exposito, who came from the bench, was
I thought
looking
he was
very,
very
very
good, by
good.
the way. Yeah,
Very, very good, my bro. Yeah, he was scrounging everywhere, giving Arsenal centre backs a headache. I mean, what a player! What a player! Uh, Lautaro Martinez was malhandled by Mosquera. I mean, bundled out of the game, and was just on the bench. I mean, when you look at the whole dynamics, Arsenal held their own.
more than held their own. I mean, they were worthy winners. As I said, Inter will
Mm,
feel they could have had 3 goals possibly, but as you say, the XG was still quite low. Arsenal really just showed. We know this is a defensively minded side, but it's a side that can attack when given the opportunity to do so, given some
mm,
space to operate in. But as I say, defensively, we know that they are very, very strong. And I think, there's a lot of pundits, and I think there's some truth to this, sort of feeling that Arsenal are a side built to win the Champions League more than the Premier League. And right now we find ourselves top of the Premier League and in a very, very good position. But I think there's some definite truth to the fact that actually, arguably, this is a side that is built to win the Champions League. Now, I think the
mm,
difference is that in the Champions League, you can have one bad game and that can be it. I know the legs are going to be two-legged, but let's
yeah.
say you go to, I don't know, let's say you go to Barcelona and you lose 3-1 away from home. That's a big ask still at home. Not impossible, but a big ask, right?
Mm,
That can very easily happen, which is what makes it so hard to win. But Arsenal certainly will be
yeah.
one of 3 or 4 sides right now that feel they can win the Champions League. But as I say, though, ironically, they're built to win the Champions League in many ways. But I think they're going to win the Premier League, and I think that's because they are far and away the strongest side in the Premier League this season. Which is
Mm,
why we're seeing sides set up the way we are against them, almost as if, do you know what? If we can get 0-0, that's a great result. Very few sides come to attack us. In the Champions League, teams do, but when they do, that's really when you see how strong our defense is. As I say, no, you said it at the top. No Gabriel yesterday. In
yeah.
comes Christian Mosquera. No Hincapié or Calafiori available. In comes Miles Lewis Skelly. You're in Timber. Brought off after 60 minutes. Ben White, of course, coming
Yeah.
on. You can see the depth there and the strength there.
Mm,
And Arsenal
mm,
now next week will, of course, play Karat in the last game. I think this means we can go all out for Manchester United because you can make 10, 11 changes if you want to for that game. Injury wise might mean it's 9 or 10, but you really can because there's nothing on it. You've secured the top 2 with that win. And, as you rightly say, Inter Milan, they're no mugs. Very good manager,
mm,
very good team. This is a side that hasn't finished outside the top 4 in Serie A, which is a league notorious for its ups and downs for 5 years.
mm,
It certainly hasn't finished outside the top 3 in 4 years. It's a very,
yeah.
very, very strong side with a lot of know-how and a very capable manager, even if he is new. And you can sort of see
Mm,
how that all comes together. And they were
definitely.
finalists last year. Let's not forget. Of course, they faced
Yeah, I mean they've been
Paris
in.
Saint-Germain in the
I
final.
mean they've been in 2 finals in 3 years,
Yeah, gives you
right?
an idea of how good they are.
Mm, mm, I mean it is what it is. But again, let's go back into the matchup. Yeah, no Gabriel Magalhaes, yet Arsenal still have the knack. Yeah,
Yep.
for set piece. Ole, ole. Set piece, ole, ole.
Who had the likes
Set
of
piece, ole, ole.
who had Gabriel
Set
Jesus
piece
and Henderson?
again. Set piece again, ole, ole. See, Dom, I don't know about you, man, but I mean, when we scored is set piece goals, yeah. I see the ups, yeah. I see the enemies that we have. I see our rivals. I mean, it's 21 guy called Key Thomas or whatever is his name. Yeah, a Liverpool fan. Yeah, a podcaster. He hates Arsenal so bad. He's a Liverpool fan. He hates Arsenal so bad. Yeah, that whenever he sees this, set piece goals, yeah, he literally gets mad, yeah, on stream. He's like, please, can they? And of course, he has a very strong, Merseyside
accent.
accent, and he's like, please, is there any way that the VAR could actually? I mean, he invokes the VAR. He wants them to overturn it. I mean, he's the real hater. But again, this is a litmus test, yeah, that I've seen with our rivals. They hate it when we score set piece goals. Uh, that's 19 we've had already this season, bro.
Yeah.
19 set piece goals, bro. I mean, bro, even before we begin to even chew into who scored it or who didn't score it, bro. 19 set piece goal. I mean, people said this is not sustainable. Dom, I think this is sustainable.
I think so. Yeah. Look, I mean, if you look at set pieces this season, set pieces have been on the rise for the last couple of years, particularly since VAR, because you can't do what you used to be able to do. I mean, you're a referee, right? And I love defending, and you're talking about a very different level, of course, where I was. But pushing in the box, standing on feet, having a shove, having a grab of a shirt. You did it on the blind side of the referee. You know, you grab the inside of a shirt where the referee can't see. You know, you're getting away with it. You can't get away with it anymore, which makes them harder to defend. So that's partly why set piece goals are on the up. But secondly, Arsenal have an imaginative set piece coach, so you don't know what you're getting. You have big, tall, strong guys, and so do opposition teams. But we have
Sorry, why did you call it imaginary? I just want to know why.
There's so much variety in the way we set up his set pieces. You know, we haven't got. Okay. We're not going to deliver the ball in the same place every time. So that's a nightmare to defend. You've then got, and as I say, other teams have this too, big, tall, strong guys coming in, but Arsenal have so many that are physically dominant in there. You then have players like Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, Noni Madueke even. You know, he got 3 set piece assists the other day. I know that it was Portsmouth, but that's still 3 set piece assists, you know, that can deliver a ball where it is supposed to go.
Yeah.
You couple all that together with, you can't now foul them like you used to be able to. And then the fact that, you know, teams now are almost scared. You know, this is slightly tongue in cheek, but you go back to the days of Stoke where people would put it out for a corner rather than.
Big up, Sarah Gunguna. Thanks for giving us, for gifting the channel 5 memberships, people. Big ups. I'll be having my show with Aragon Guna later this evening around 7:30 p.m. So people, make sure you join me for that one. That'll be a big one. And probably after the Man United matchup, I will set up a show for me, Dom, and Aragon Guna next week. So people, you have to cheer for that one, yeah, people, because I'll be colliding the 2 shows together. So to be a collision of both worlds. So the Arsenal Clinic meets, of course, with Dal and with Dom and Claude meets the show with Aragon Guna. So that'll be a big one. And of course, Dom, I've told you that Aragon Guna really likes your takes, and you know, he would like to, you know, have some few words with you. So I mean,
no, sounds good. Sounds good. And very kind of him to give the Channel 5 some memberships as well. But you know, just as I was sort of saying that, you've now got a situation where teams are really, really worried and frightened about facing our set piece. You know, you almost see a delay in the set piece just to wind the crowd up, build that anxiety, and all of that contributes to Arsenal scoring goals. And I think that's why it is sustainable, because you've got all of those factors I've just gone coming through. And I know teams get really frustrated by it, but a goal's a goal. It's like when people go, we can't score goals here, all own goals. Well, the ball still has to go into those areas to put pressure on the defender to put the ball in his own net. You know, how many of those goals did we have where the ball came across and there was someone right behind them ready to pounce if they didn't do something? That forces them to make a decision in an uncomfortable area, and it forces the own goals. You know, ultimately, none of those own goals came because the defender got it and passed it back to his goalkeeper under no pressure. It came because the pressure was building. And yes, of course, we'd rather our own player put it in the net, but ultimately, a goal's a goal.
Yeah, definitely. Because, bro, I'm really shocked at the amount, bro. We're churning out these numbers, of set pieces, in geometric progression, bro. I'm totally shocked in the way we're scoring these goals. And Lord may it continue because those are the goals that actually burns these enemies and the rivals that we have. It slowly burns them. And at any time, yeah, during the course of the matchup, yeah, they know that Arsenal is dangerous. They know that at any time, yeah, the game can change. They know that at any time Arsenal could score goals, even if, yeah, I mean, from anywhere, from free kicks, from corner kicks, from every angle of from every angle of elevation, anywhere you could see, Arsenal could score goals from those angles, and that's what makes us unpredictable and very dangerous this season. And I'm very happy with that, my brother. See, man, Gabriel Jesus. I mean, what a performance yesterday! Latched
Well,
onto that
when he's
header
winning
from
headers in the
Trossard.
penalty area, right?
I mean, look at his positioning. I mean, see, it's easy. It's easy to talk about, strikers and of course, Erling Haaland, who knows how to sniff goals from anywhere across the pitch. But again, there's someone like Gabriel Jesus who would just read the game properly. He's not the kind of striker that comes through the middle most of the time. He walks through the wings. Even when you check his hit map all across the pitch, it's mostly through, through the flanks, definitely, not really through the middle. But sometimes when he walks up his way through the middle and gets those goals, he just has to around those moments of magic. He gets into those kind of shriveled positions, just to get those goals, just to get that opportunity to latch onto it. You can see the first goal sent to him. It took a slight deflection before it got to him, and he just latched onto that ball, got the goal. Trossard looked the ball up top, and definitely, I mean, with his head, preventing it from going outside the line. And of course, guess who was there? Gabriel Jesus with his head in the 18-yard box where you need the striker, bro. What is
He's
going on?
Yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, he's just a phenomenal player. Absolutely, it really makes me wonder, and in some ways sad, what would have happened to Arsenal in the last few years had he not
Big
got
up
that
Miss Melina. Big ups, Mike Buddy. Big ups, Miss Melina. I hope you're good. I'm here with Dom. Me and Dom talking about the matchup against Inter Milan. Yeah, Dom, yeah, you were saying something.
But yeah, no, I was just saying it makes me sort of wonder, and we should get to the chat in a minute because lots of activity now in the chat. But it makes me wonder what might have happened to Arsenal had we not had that Gabriel Jesus injury. At the World, just before the World Cup or at the World Cup, I can't remember now. It was nearly 4 years ago, which is mad. Those couple of seasons where we went close, I always felt that Manchester City were too strong in both those seasons, but we went so close in the second season. The first season collapsed. That didn't shock me at all in any way, shape, or form because the squad depth just wasn't there, and we were always one injury away from a key player, and we got two in the game. But just thinking how much more dangerous would we have been, and would we have got those extra few points if Gabriel Jesus had been there because he was that good a player, and he was in such scintillating form when he first arrived.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. But again, yeah, because I have some certain kind of Arsenal fans I talk to, yeah, they wanted Gabriel Jesus out by this January, yeah, and when he scored those goals on Tuesday, yeah, I saw in the charts a couple of them were saying, "Oh, there goes the contract. A new contract is going to be given to him." After everything that has happened to Gabriel Jesus, and he's trying to really get into that position to get into the hearts again of Arsenal fans, trying to show them the reason why they actually spent transfer money to go get him in the first place, trusting his body, trusting God also, to mostly to recover and to get playing at this level where automatically he's coming out from almost a year out of the game, and he's coming back to score goals. He's coming back to be an impact player in this team. Obviously, he said in some certain kind of presses that he's been having, that he believes that he has a mission in this football club. He believes in God. He believes that he is going to be part of the machinery that takes Arsenal to the next level. He believes that Arsenal is going to win trophies this season. Every presser he's been on this season that I've seen him on, it's always like, I really think that I'm part of this team. I'm going to be part of the team to win. I want to help the team. It's always about giving to the team. He's always been talking about. But most of all, he trusts his body to heal up. And again, he has this good energy amongst the Arsenal players. With what he's been doing, do you think in any way we should be looking at giving him a contract?
I mean, I think first things first.
And I don't want a quick answer.
No,
Dom,
no.
I really need you to think about this, so no one will clip you and say, "Oh, Dom said this." I mean, take it easy. I mean, yeah, take it easy. Process it.
I'm not sure I'm quite up there with what Mikel Arteta says, but look, I think on Gabriel Jesus, if you go back to the summer, right, there was a lot of talk about that. I was never it was never practical, right? Him going in the summer. It was highly unlikely he went in January either, because he'd, at best, as it turns out, he had only just come back from injury. So that's a significant outlay you're making for a player that's just come back from essentially the best part of 2-3 years out injured. He's missed so much football. It's unbelievable. So I never thought it realistic that he was going to be going anyway, but nor did I think Arsenal should. Unless they got a phenomenal offer. If someone comes in and goes, "We're going to give you 10 million now, and you've got 10 million and you're saving significant wages on him," then you might have to have a think about it. But even then, when you're going for titles, and I thought in the summer we would be going for titles, you don't want to lose a player like Gabriel Jesus, because he can play on the right, he can play on the left, he can play as your number 9, which is, I think, where his best position is. That is so useful to have across the line, particularly when you knew you had Kai Havertz out for so long. So I always felt that keeping hold of Gabriel Jesus was a sensible thing for Arsenal to do in the context of trying to win multiple trophies, because he is a threat, he's a danger, he can play in many positions, he's well liked in the squad, and he is obviously a very experienced player who has crucially won the Premier League title before, which is something that you don't have many players that can have. He's obviously come back in and is starting to find some real form and starting to look really good, which makes it a no-brainer that he's staying now. You just have to now hope he stays fit. And I think it's sort of similar to Ranieri. I think the risk of Ranieri going out on loan is that he weakens the squad by not having him here. Because, again, versatile player, very capable player. But the difference between him and Jesus is Ranieri going out on loan for the rest of the season is really good for his development. And that is really good for the long-term future of Arsenal. Gabriel Jesus is towards the other end of the career. I don't think he's going to have a career into 35, 36 type player because of the injuries he's had. I think that will massively impact him. Certainly not at the top level if he does. So therefore, keeping him around makes more sense. And also, with Ranieri, you've got someone like Max Dowman that can come and get the minutes that Ranieri might otherwise have had. You can sort of see the difference there. Personally, I would have probably, from the point of view of winning things, kept Ranieri, but it is a sensible thing for his development. In terms of the contract then, having said all that about Gabriel Jesus, I think it's a conversation you park to the end of the season and see where you're at, see what you want to do, and crucially see what money you've got available in the summer. I suspect Arsenal will be able to spend big again in the summer if they want to, because they'll have a third year of Champions League football, commercial revenue significantly up, Arsenal's financials for 24-25 out today, big increase in revenue, a lot of it being driven by new commercial.
Exactly.
And I think that, those two factors should mean Arsenal can spend big. Our wage to income ratio still relatively low, lower than Liverpool's, lower than Manchester City's. That's huge, and that allows them to do that sort of thing. So you might be in a position in some way you say, "Gabby, thanks really very much. We're going to let you go and pursue your career elsewhere, because actually we are going to bring in, I don't know, Rodrigo or whatever, to come in and take your place in the squad." I know Rodrigo's not a number 9, but You know what I mean, and that it might be where Arsenal are looking. So I think it's a conversation that isn't everybody's interest, including Gabby Jesus, to wait until the summer. But keeping him now, really, really, really sensible. But I wouldn't be making a decision on his contract at this point.
Oh, okay. So now,
What do you think, Owen?
even if we want to give him a contract, yeah, like how many years would you opine to give to him? How many
I
years would you say, okay,
1 year
this
rollovers.
is this is what we can give to Gabriel Jesus? He's 28 now.
Yeah. And he's an old 28, isn't he, with those injuries? He hasn't
Yeah,
necessarily got the minutes in his legs, but those injuries are really serious. Like 2 ACLs, that's properly serious. I would
yeah,
be giving him anything. I'm 1 year rollovers. I really am, which might
yeah.
not be something he wants, and that might be part of that conversation. That's why I think it's a grown-up conversation to have at the end of a season where Arsenal know where they want to go. I wouldn't be shocked to see Gabriel Jesus go, but I think what's really good is you've got players like him wanting to be here and sort of saying, "I want to
Mm,
be here to win trophies because I believe we can." And we've seen that with the likes of Saliba and Gabriel signing new trophies. They believe they can win here too, and I think that's a really good sign. But I would be certainly no more than 2 year contracts because right now, even if he stays fit between now and the end of the season, his history suggests that's not necessarily sustainable. It might be if we're
mm.
using for 20, 30-minute cameos and we say that's your role in the squad. But if that's the case, he's going to have to take a massive wage cut too. And again, he might not want to. And that's why I keep coming back to this end of the season conversation because I think that
Yeah, definitely.
nuts.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Of course, Arsenal domination. 84 says, hi, Mel. Of course, Mel was giving you a shout out before. And Benito, big up to you, Benito. Sotelo says, shout out, Dal. Generous guy, of course. Dal is the sugar daddy of the channel. Big up to you, Benito. Cheers, brother. Big up to everyone down here. See, yeah, of course. Kai Havertz. I mean, just before we get into Gyökeres, Manchester United, and all this other stuff, yeah, Kai Havertz, another setback, bro. What I mean, what do we
Is it a
have here,
setback?
dumb man? There's a setback, bro.
I'm not sure if it is a setback. I mean, my understanding of that is that Arsenal are expecting to manage his workload for a longer period of time than first envisaged, rather than a setback. Which you could argue is a setback, I suppose. But my understanding of it is they are concerned about the knee injury and want to be really cautious about his return, which I think is sensible after a year out. If you look at the likes of Gabby Jesus, arguably rushed back
Mm,
last year out of necessity after a similar serious injury, and we saw the setback. Obviously, Kai Havertz was fully fit back into the summer. He gets a knock in that Manchester United game, the first one, and gets injury again. So I suppose you could argue it's a setback, but a setback to my mind is it's a new injury. I think it's just going to be a longer road back to
mm,
being able to start games. I think there's two things on that. I mean, Arsenal in many ways look better with him in the side than with Gyökeres, but I think that's partly as a result of him understanding how Arsenal's system works. Arsenal's system has been tweaked, and we saw it effectively on Tuesday because there was space there. We got that ball forward more quickly, but it's less
mm,
able. We need to do that more. It's harder because there's less space, but we certainly need to move the ball quicker in the Premier League. There's no question about
mm,
that. But equally, that is much harder to do or look so good at doing when there is less space. But Havertz, against the strikes of Nottingham Forest, I think is a better option than Gyökeres. But at the moment, we have Gabriel Jesus who can do that. So you can be cautious and should be cautious with Kai Havertz coming back into the team. Because right now, while he's a really good option to have again, and I think Arsenal were absolutely right to upgrade him in the number 9 position in terms of how clinical he's in front of goal. I mean,
mm,
statistically, he's actually, as a number 9, not that far off what you'd expect from most strikers in the Premier League. But
mm,
certainly, he is a player that has some big high-profile misses, and that adds to that narrative, which is not totally untrue around his finishing. It's certainly the weakest area of his attacking game. But we don't need to rush him back right now. So don't rush him back because we got Victor Gyökeres, because we got Gabriel Jesus. And do you know what? If you
yeah,
do, if you need to rest both of them, you do have Mikel Moreno as an option rather than throw Kai Havertz in if he's not ready. So I think Arsenal right to be cautious, but I think he's also a really good weapon to have. I think I was talking about choosing the right attacking options before the Forest game. The reason
yeah.
I'd have gone Eza is because Odegaard kind of needs a little bit of pockets of space to operate in. He can get on the ball in them, but he needs a little bit of space ahead of him to play those really clever balls that he does play in. They weren't there against Forest. Eze is a type that will take that touch and go, do you know what? I can beat my man and shoot. That's not Odegaard's game. And I thought that Arteta did get it. He reacted and made changes, not necessarily changes I would have made, but he did react and make changes quickly, but he got the side wrong. I spoke about Gabby Martinelli earlier, and I actually thought it was a Gabby Jesus game rather than a Gyökeres game to start with on Saturday. Although from a player management point of view, having scored against Brighton, I understand why, not Brighton, Chelsea, sorry. I understood why Gyökeres started that game. But again, it's those sorts of things that we need to be looking at here. And Kai Havertz, against those really low, very disciplined, very well organised, and that is what Sean Dyche's team is, as well as having that back four, his first choice back four out, which is the first time this season, is he's the type of player you probably want in that situation because he drags the Forest player, our Forest player with him, which creates a little bit of space behind, which isn't Gyökeres' game. And that's not a criticism of Gyökeres at all. His game is getting in behind, on the shoulder, in behind.
Yeah.
That's what you really want against Inter. We saw that with his goal against Inter by, ironically, Saka getting an assist for that, which was a miscontrol.
That weak touch. Was that really a pass, though? No,
exactly.
No. Was that really a pass, though?
No, that's what I'm saying. He gets an assist for that, for a miscontrol, right? But he doesn't get an assist for those crosses in, which get turned into the net by another player in other games. I'm like, surely those ones the assist, where that one is just a miscontrol. But it's a weird way that stat works.
Very weird, kind of.
He's got to try and the ball's slightly behind him. He's gone to try and flick it back in front of him to get a chance to shoot. That's what he's gone to try and do. Miscontrols it, and Gyökeres obviously gets there. But it's a weird way the assists work.
But again, okay, people, before we get to that, because I wanted to handle that separately on the Gyökeres talk, but we have something from Oregon Goon, and I think it's really trying to pick your head on this one, bro. Thoughts? How much better we are without Odegaard? We didn't miss him on Tuesday. I concur. What do you say?
Yes and no. So I think you're right. We, from an attacking point of view, absolutely, we 100% didn't miss him on Tuesday because the game was very, very different. Odegaard was starting to come back to a little bit of form, but against Liverpool and against Forest, he was undoubtedly not good at all, no question. And rightly, I think Eze, given the opportunity to play, I think he absolutely should have played. And I thought he, whilst being the least effective player on the pitch, because he wasn't bad by any stretch, still had a good game as in the 10 for me. He looked in a creative force. What we did miss, and I was talking about this with you earlier, where we were slightly disagreeing about Moreno, but I think we're probably disagreeing about the level. I don't think either of us thought he was great. But we missed that sort of defensive work that Odegaard brings. But I like the fact that we went to Inter with that attacking intent, and Eze is that more attacking intent player. So from an offensive point of view, Oregon Guna, I think it was Oregon Guna that said it, might be an AFC always. Whoever it was that just said that is absolutely right. That from an attacking point of view, we definitely didn't miss Odegaard on Tuesday.
On Tuesday, yeah. I mean, I want to agree with I want to agree with what you've said also. But again, when I've watched Odegaard, man, he slows down the attack, bro. I mean, see, in games like that kind of Inter Milan game, the kind of games you have to move the ball quicker, you have to progress the ball quicker, you have to move it a little bit more slicker too. And with Odegaard, it just slows things down just a little bit. Maybe by the orders of Mikel Arteta, I don't know. But one thing I do know is that he slows it. He slows it so much. Yeah, even when I was watching Mikel Merino, he was in the box. Inter Milan was trying to get a ball in or something like that. It ricocheted on maybe Mosquera or someone like that. Then he passed it on to Zubimendi, and then Merino was telling him, "Hey, just calm down with the ball, inside your own area. I mean, just calm down with the ball instead of actually trying to progress the ball faster." I really think it's more of Mikel Arteta's team talks kind of training, kind of his epistle that's really telling them, hey, slow the game down a little bit, be more conscious about ball possession more than actually countering them quite quicker or quite faster. That's what's in my head. So in those cases where you have to actually play a little bit more quicker, move the ball a little bit more slicker and more liquid, fluid enough to actually catch opposition teams unawares. Most of the teams that actually do come out to play, it's a bit of a worry for me, man. Mostly when Odegaard comes into play. And and again, I'm not saying that Odegaard is the old shit, bro. I'm not saying that. On his day, on a very good day, he could actually conjure something. I'm not negating that fact, but bro, man, he slows our attack down. And against Inter Milan, where we needed more quicker, more liquid passes here and there, and more confrontational, direct kind of football, which was what we had, it was just divine to just watch Arsenal play without the sideways passing, without the backwards and all those kind of awkward passes around in terms of playing it to save and just for the sake of keeping ball possession. So I mean, it is what it is, yeah. But without Odegaard, we're good. Whether we go to play Manchester United without Odegaard, that would be something. That would be a question that will be lingering in the head of Mikel Arteta. Mostly since he has hacked Odegaard off. I mean, in the last game against Nottingham Forest, he hacked him off. That's your captain. That's
Yeah,
supposed to
and it
be
was the
your
right decision,
creator
by
in
the way.
chief.
It was the right decision to take him off as well.
It was a right. Exactly. Yeah.
I think
Continue.
I think again there's some truth and some slight disagreement with me on this point. So I think Odegaard certainly. So let's go to Mikel Arteta first, and then Martin Odegaard.
Hmm.
Mikel Arteta's view, and I think this really comes back to that first title tilt. And I remember
Hmm.
saying at the time quite clearly that
Big
it
up,
was
Rory.
it was it was all or nothing. It was basketball, football, very much like Klopp's last season. And I didn't think that was
Hmm.
sustainable. And I think that's part of the reason we ran out of puff. Part of the reason we ran out of puff as well was the squad depth wasn't there to sustain it. But it was part of that absolutely full pace, 100-mile-an-hour football. And I felt an element of control needed to come in. And I think that's where the lesson came from that. What I do think it's done is gone a little bit too far at times, which we are too controlling
Hmm.
at times. It's a little bit too safe. And I think that's where there's some fair criticism in there, but also some sort of actually, do you know what? We could be playing something like 60 we could still be playing something like another 34 games this season or something daft. We could be playing 68 games or something mental this season if we go to the final of all four competitions. Well, not the final of the Premier League, but you know what I mean. Um, and actually you do want to leave something in the tank for, the quote business end of a season. So I think I can understand the need for control to some extent, but equally, I think there are times where you've got options on the bench, you've got that full bench, you've got an opportunity like this weekend. We've got an opportunity to go 100% at Manchester United because whoever starts against Manchester United can sit on the bench against Carrat, right? So you don't
Hmm.
need to worry so much about that. So I think, that's where there's some truth in there. And I think that's true of Martin Odegaard as well. I want to see Martin Odegaard a little bit higher up the pitch, starting higher, similar to Eza, right? Because he can still do the
Yeah.
defensive work when we haven't got the ball
Yeah.
in there. Um,
Hmm.
but I also think it's true that he does slow the game down. But I think I see that more when we are facing that lower block side where there's that less space. Because I was talking earlier about how he tries to find that pocket space. And if it's not there, he almost slows the ball down in the hope that someone can move into a bit of space. But what I did notice though, and I noticed it, I can't think what game it was now. It might have been Villa game in particular, but where we've started to have in a couple of games where we've had more of that space, and I wonder if it might have happened against Inter Milan. He actually moved the ball quite quickly. It was 1-2 touch stuff. So I don't know if it's game state or if it's Mikel Arteta or a little bit of both. I think I don't know the answer until I really see him play a game like we. I mean, let's say he starts against Carrot. I don't think we can really use that as an evidence of is he is it and he let's say he starts Carrot and he moves the ball quickly. The opposition is going to be somewhat limited. You can't really tell from that. But until he plays like an Inter Milan, where they have got that space because they're coming to attack, Chelsea
Yeah.
might do it in a couple of weeks' time, for instance. Do we see the Odegaard that I saw sort of against Villa, where that's 1-2 touch, or do we see the Odegaard against Forest where it's like I'm holding onto the ball, waiting for some space? I think it's probably a little bit of both. He certainly is slower on the ball than Eza, but he has got the ability and has done it before where he can move that ball quickly. So I think we'll see. But I think the point definitely stands that, maybe it was game state, but that looked far more exciting. But it was also more exciting because Inter Milan allowed it to be more exciting.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely came out to play. I mean, no low blocks. I mean, of course, they did, lots of defensive work.
Yeah.
Let's don't take that away
They
from
didn't go
them.
10 men
I
forward
mean,
every time.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So even if they did come out, they did have to. I mean, they had to do lots of defensive work. They had to, crowd over Arsenal players when the attack was coming, and they did that compactly. But again, they played with much fluency, more liquid. They kept possession of the ball too. They tried to latch onto some certain kind of chances, and those chances and opportunities did come. Turin skied up to nearly two chances. Laturo Martinez, I mean, lost one or two chances too. That was afforded to him. Couple of transitions, quick transitions that they had chances of, also flopped away by some of their attacking assets down there. It is what it is. When you're playing with Arsenal, you're not just playing with our midfield, you're also playing, with our back four that I presume is the best in the world. And it is what it is. Yeah, it is
And
what
it
it
wasn't
is.
even our
See,
first choice back four.
yeah,
It wasn't even our
what
first
did you
choice
say?
back four. I was just
Yeah,
saying it wasn't even our
exactly.
first choice.
I mean, it wasn't even laughing. See, Dom, yeah. I mean, let's go to the next one because, of course, I know you would like to leave at the top of the hour, but we'll try and fashion something out. See,
Yeah, I could go just
Gyökeres, bro.
past. It's only for my daughter's bedtime. So it's not the
Okay,
end of the
okay,
world. If it's a little bit later, she can have 10-15 minutes extra. That won't be a
okay.
problem.
Thanks. I really appreciate that. See, Dom, yeah. Victor Gyökeres. I mean, on the shows we have with Red RD, yeah. I mean, you see what happens every time me and Rory have to really fight about that, and not just me and him. Other people we have to lock horns together. I mean, you had your own clash with AT at the time to, everyone arguing, with each other, about this guy. But the good thing is that because I'm an Arsenal fan, yeah, and true Arsenal fan. I want to be wrong. I really want to be wrong because I'm a true Arsenal fan at heart. I'm not the kind of Arsenal fan here that Gyökeres would score and I'll say I'm not going to celebrate it. I'm going to wait. No, 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 no. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to celebrate the goal, and I want him to even prove me more wrong. And that's what I want to see on the day. Come on, man. Look at that pass, yeah. He tried to, I mean, for the kind of guy, yeah, that he is, that just shows you his open heart. I mean, he's been on the back end of no passes getting to him. I mean, that is that's the thing lingering, all over him. No one is sending passes to me. And you know what? Yeah, at the first instance where he felt Bukayo Saka would actually be in the best position to advance forward with the ball, he passes the ball to him. So I mean, just that share honor, that share, camaraderie, with him trying to do that and pass to the so-called person who doesn't usually want to find him in any way. Yeah. Instead, he passes the ball to him, and somehow, because Saka takes a tumble, gets that assist one way or the other, but the ball comes back to him, and he just carefully just spins the ball and turns the ball all around the Inter Milan defender. Uh, Jan Sommer kind of like latched onto it, got a little
He got,
bit of a
got a bit of
tip
a
on
hand
it.
to it. It looked like, didn't he? He sort of a little bit of a finger to
Yeah,
it,
he got,
didn't he?
he got his hand to it, but I mean, that looks like a typical goal from his Sporting Lisbon days, where when he takes a shot, it's like a lion roaring towards you, bro. I mean, I'm even shocked that summer he actually got his hand on that ball. It was rolling with maximum speed. It was deadly. I mean, even if Jan Sommer got his hand to it, still top beans play. Jokeres,
It
third goal.
pace,
What do you
pace,
think, though?
curl, precision, right? It had
Yeah,
all.
oh my God. Oh, you
It's a
just
type
hit
of
it on the nail, bro.
it's a type of goal we imagine him getting when we first signed, as you say. It's sort of a highlights
Mm,
reel from Sporting days, isn't it? You know, even
mm,
Coventry, and I think for me on Victor Gyökeres, I think he's played more than maybe Mikel Arteta envisaged playing him in the first half. I think ideally of the first half of the season, I think ideally he wanted to sort of settle him in slowly, build him into a team a little bit more, and didn't get that opportunity because he was the only fit striker. Um,
mm,
I think for me, I've always been of the view that I never thought he was going to come and score 30, 40 goals. I did expect him to score more than he has given the amount of games he's had. But I also am genuinely of the view, and I don't just apply this to Victor Gyökeres, I apply this to all new signings. Sometimes your adaptation period is a little bit longer than other players. We saw, people have split opinions over Kai Havertz, but we saw the improvement of Kai Havertz in the back end of second half of season 2. We've seen the improvement of Mikel Moreno, albeit in a new position. But even now he's gone back into midfield, looks far better than he did in those early days in the Arsenal midfield.
mm.
Um,
Yeah.
we sometimes it takes players a little longer to adapt, and his adaptation period was always going to be longer. There was a whole Šeško Gyökeres debate, right? And my view
Yeah.
on the Šeško Gyökeres debate was really simple. If you want a player to play the same way as we're doing now, identical to Kai Havertz, go and sign Benjamin Šeško. If you want
Mm,
something different, which is what I wanted, to give us options and different alternatives, and I think that's what we've got now with the three strikers, all with slightly different profiles, you want Victor Gyökeres. And as a result of signing that different profile, we have seen a slight tweak to Arsenal's system. It is looking to play a little bit more direct. Arsenal have been more direct with their balls this season statistically. And the idea that Victor Gyökeres isn't being targeted is just incorrect. He remains one of the top 5 most targeted forwards in the Premier League. What
yeah.
we aren't doing is finding him now. There's an argument we should be finding him a bit quicker and earlier. And by the way, Martinelli, gets that ball straight up for Gyökeres because there
Ooh,
was a space.
ooh.
And it was a
The
lovely
spin
pass.
on it. Oh,
Yeah, lovely outside of
oh.
the perfect pass. But again, game state allows him that space, which means he's operating at his best in that. I think his confidence is slightly up as well after Chelsea. He just didn't get a sniff
Mm,
against Forest because it's not his type of game, and that's where we should be picking him based on opposition to suit his strengths going forward. But I do think that it's just still a little bit of an adaptation period for him. It's taking a little bit longer. I think his movement needs to improve, but equally, it's so hard to find him and for him to find space, particularly in the Premier League, because sides are so compact in the middle, blocking that middle space. It does make it more challenging. And we are seeing, right now, the Premier League is on for significantly less goals this season if it continues at current rate than last season. Not just Arsenal, I mean, across the piece, because teams are playing more defensively this season. Again, not just against us, but it is more pronounced statistically against us by about 8 meters on average. Teams are deeper against Arsenal than they are against other opposition. That's a long way, by the way, in the Premier League.
That's a long
But
way.
that doesn't help. So I don't think it's a question of right or wrong against Gyökeres. I think it's just a question of adaptation, and just the way the league is going this season just doesn't suit him. But I think it could and will.
See, Dom, yeah, I mean, Victor Gyökeres has scored in important games. I mean, I'll give you footnotes to that, yeah. He scored in very, very important games this season. I'll give you the first one. He scored against Atletico Madrid. Mind you, he scored 2 goals against Atletico
Yeah,
Madrid. He scored against Chelsea. That goal he latched onto from a mistake from Sanchez, yeah? And now against Inter Milan, where we need a goal, very important goal against Inter Milan, where we just need to just calm the nerves and run away with that game. He comes from nowhere. In fact, he comes off the bench to actually give us that goal, man. I mean, that's a big quality to have. Someone you can count on that could actually come on from the bench. I'm even slightly thinking maybe that's what's also good for his game to slightly feel that really little pinch of competition in him. Jesus is competing with him. He's scoring goals, and then you look onto your bench. You remove Gabriel Jesus. You bring him on, and he finds the need, the will, to score a goal. And again, that bit of competitiveness just ignites the spirit. Mostly after you've seen someone who will be fighting with you for that position, yeah, come on and score 2 goals. You need to, you need to have your name on that score sheet, and he did just exactly that. And you know what? Yeah, that little bit of competition, I feel it's what he needs. Yeah, we might say Jesus might start again. Gyökeres could be well set for this one until he will start. I don't know, but I just really feel like when he has that little bit of urgency to score. When he has that thing at the back of his mind that, oh, you know what, yeah, I'm in a big competition, it might just spark something in this strikers. Mind you, all the goals we used to be Inter Milan were scored, all of them by strikers, my friend. See, I've told you about the important goals he scored this season and in those games. Maybe they were just additional goals to just quieten the stomach ruminants. No problem. But there were, if you look at the profile of the team, there were very important teams, yeah, to score goals against. Is Gyökeres a big game player?
I mean, you could argue. I think I would put it down more to, again, I've talked about it a lot this show, the space afforded to him in those games. There is more space in those games, and that suits his game far more. He's not the sort of player that creates space. Well, he does create space with his run, but he thrives on teams that are going to take more risks. And when he can be very, very deadly. He struggles more when he's crowded out in the box because sometimes you need to come short to sort of bring players with you to create the space. As I was talking about earlier, the difference between Jesus/Havertz and him is exactly that. And, I don't think it's a surprise to see a lot of his goals coming in games where he gets the space. Leeds United, to their downfall, but also to their credit, came and tried to play football against us. What did he do? He got goals. So, I don't think it's the opposition so much in terms of he's going to only score against a big team, because ironically, he was accused of in Portugal of actually being a flat track bully. But I do think it's just about the type of game that suits him, and that's why I like having him here, because he is different to other players. So I think he is a real positive from that perspective. But equally, as you say, he came off the bench under great pressure in many ways, because the game wasn't done. It was 2-1. It was tight, and he's just seen his rival for starting on Sunday score 2 goals and play very, very well. And he came on, stood up and went, I'm going to win this game for us. And by the way, Mikel, don't forget about me. I can score too. And he deserves a lot of credit for that.
Definitely. Big up to Donversations TV. Big up to my G. How you doing, my bro? Hey, Don, how you doing? And he says hi to Dom. He says, big up, Dom. Big up, Dom. Yeah, me and Dom doing our thing. I mean, see, Donversations on this channel. I mean, the channel is it's growing, bro. Keep the good work going, my bro. I mean, you're doing your thing, and it's only just, that people hear your voice. When me and you were doing shows on Flawless channel, I keep saying, to you, I kept saying to you, bro, where is your channel, man? You have to have your channel, because the whole world needs to get Donversations. They need to get the guy, himself doing his thing. And I really thank God. And again, you're part of my routine. I watch. I just recently became friends with my brother here, Dom. I go to his channel. I'm always there watching his shots. I mean, the shots keep rolling in. They keep rolling in. There's so much they keep rolling in. I mean, they keep rolling in. I keep watching them. Same thing with Donversations. I go there, drop a little bit of a like there, and watch these channels. I'm more into the smaller channels though, because that's where you get the truth most of the time. That's where you get the truth.
It's also a great name, by the way. Love the pun.
Yeah, exactly. Donversations. Yeah, exactly. Don is a great guy, and his shows are quite good. And again, he says the truth. He speaks from the heart. He speaks from within, and that's something I really, really like. I like people with opinions, not sheeps led to slaughter that would say anything just to advance, some certain kind of agenda or something like that. He speaks through the mind, and he understands football He likes Arsenal too. See, Dom, Manchester United, the Devils are back. And you know what? Yeah, the Devils will be back at our. I mean, they'll be knocking on our front door. Dom, are you ready to open the door for these demons to come in so that you can exorcise them? I mean, I know you waiting. I know you waiting with your priestly apparels and all that good stuff. Yeah, but Dom, what do you have lying in the waiting on Sunday for these demons? Please tell me you got holy water. Please tell me you got acid to pour on these demons. Yeah? Tell me you have the Bible to actually cast out these demons when they visit us on Sunday. Dom, tell me all about it, my bro.
Well,
Talk
I
to
might not. I'm afraid I don't have holy water or Bible, but I do have Jesus. Does that? um,
That's a good one. That's a good one, bro. Ooh, yeah. Give me this is none. I get it. Yeah.
uh,
I didn't see that coming, bro.
I can carry on.
That's a good one, man.
I've also got the Archangel Gabriel for you at the back. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a difficult one, isn't it, with United? Because Michael Carrick, brilliant performance from them against Manchester City. Really, really good. No one saw that coming to the extent of how well they played. Them winning didn't necessarily shock me, but they annihilated Manchester City. I mean, as did Bodo Klimt, by the way. City in a real bad place at the moment. But, we have to worry about ourselves, and we have to worry about Manchester United on Sunday. They're going to come in for a full week's rest. That said, we've had a 5-day rest, and Mikel Arteta decided to give the players Wednesday and Thursday off. So I think that really, really sensible, because it's been a grueling few days with 4 away trips on the bounce. But I think it's hard to prepare. But I think you have to assume they're not going to go 3 at the back. But if you do go 3 at the back, then I think you can make a really quick in-game change and play in a very similar way to how we played against Inter Milan. Because I think we got our sort of wingers slightly inside, slightly more to put extra pressure on those 3 and give support to Jesus. But I think I'm not convinced that Michael Carrick is going to attempt to try and park the bus. I think he came at Manchester City a little bit. And look, teams are coming at City a little bit because they don't fear them in the same way they fear us, or indeed Manchester City sides of old. But so maybe he'll be slightly more pragmatic. But I think Arsenal just have to try and do what they can. If they get those spaces and they get the counter, Manchester United won't sit and defend for 90 minutes. Michael Carrick talks about the Manchester United DNA for whatever that means. But essentially, I think that means we're going to come and try and take the game to you a little bit. And if he does that, Arsenal's defense is good enough to thwart them, and it will create space going forward. And if it does, just do what you did against Inter, move that ball quickly, move it fast, and get it forward. But it is so hard, as I say, to say what you can do. But we've got a real advantage. Carrick on Tuesday or Wednesday next week. I assume it's Wednesday because it was Tuesday this week in the Champions League. That's full rotation. Just you can go all out. So I think it's Raya, it's Timber, it's Gabriel, it's Saliba. It's probably Miles Lewis-Skelly at left back. But you could go right back, Timber at left back. But I thought Miles Lewis-Skelly played quite well actually on Tuesday. Zubimendi, Rice in midfield. You've then got Odegaard or Reza. I think it will be Odegaard. I think possibly sensibly, given United's counter threat, that might be a sort of sensible one, and they will try and play out from the back. Kind of feels like Odegaard might come in there, and for a big game, he's going to bring his captain back. So I think it will be Odegaard. Trossard left. If the game opens up, Martinelli to come on over there, or Eza can go out there if it doesn't, if it's not working. Saka on the right, Madueke in good form. Just go all out, and if it's not working, you've got those options to change it. So I think we need to win it because it's 2 draws in a row. We certainly need to score and get the monkey off our back from scoring in the league. But if Arsenal win this game, they come in with potentially down to 4-point lead because you'd expect City to beat Wolves. Villa might win too. But just go at them with a little bit of pace and give it everything you've got. I can see why we've conserved energy slightly in previous games because of the amount of games and the speed of them. And you still got that. But as I say, Carrick, you can make all those changes, so you don't need to worry. Just real high pace, real intensity.
Just go all out. Yeah, just go all out. Let the balls hang. People, let the nuts hang. People, let it hang against Manchester United. It's simple. It's pretty simple, let's go there with all our ammunitions, yeah, and shoot these demons down. Let's go for an exorcism. Because and this has always been see, yeah, Dom, this has always been one of the biggest criticisms of Arsenal, yeah. Mostly when I hear Arsenal fans that are very, very, very overtly, critical of the team. Yeah, you you play against Nottingham Forest, the 17th, with 17th position in the league. Yeah, and you draw against them. You don't take your chances against them, and then you travel down to San Siro. Yeah, one of the most vociferous grounds in Europe, the motherland of European football, bro. Yeah, I mean, that's how I look onto that place. Yeah, legendary players have played there. AC Milan, Inter Milan, of course, definitely. And you go away from home and smack up Inter Milan, who is, by the way, first in their league. They're real doing good. They're flying high. And you go down there and beat them 3-1. There is no balance. I mean, I mean, where is the balance? There's no balance, and this is the bigger criticism. If you're doing it against Inter Milan, why can't you do it against Nottingham Forest, who's 17th in the league? I, I mean, Dom, I know you will go to your default setting. I know you would say, "Oh well, the Premier League is a different kind of game." I mean, it's a different level, it's a different tempo, the intensity is higher. But I mean, surely when you're going for the league title, all these excuses, you should just banish them, bro, and go and pick the things, bro. I mean, it's not working in that way. If we carry on that mentality of waiting for the big one to just, show ourselves in the Champions League, bro, it must slip away from us because it's just 7 points. Couple of
I,
draws and we're out of it.
I don't think we will throw it away for a start. And for a second, I think, if you look at draws with the invincible season, and we're not going to be invincible, obviously, because we've already lost. But secondly, that doesn't happen.
Mm,
We've got a draws in that season. And I'd also point out that we're 1 point behind where Liverpool were at this exact stage last season, with exactly the same points. But undoubtedly, and you made the point last week. I was quite confident going to Forest. I was like, it's going to be difficult, but we should win the game. And you were rightly saying, well, you never know. And look, there are games in the Premier League, because it is a competitive league, particularly away from home, where you're going to drop points you shouldn't. And most, if not every side, does that every year. The exception was that bonkers season where Liverpool and City went to 100 points. Absolutely.
mm,
But that's the abnormality. It's a bit like Leicester winning the league. It's something that doesn't happen very often. But
mm,
Arsenal certainly should have won that game, no question. And Arsenal created chances to win the game, didn't take them, but should have created more. There should have been more urgency. Absolutely, from the off. You knew Forest were going to sit in, so play quick, play early, because you still have what wasn't a dead rubber against Inter, but was still a game where you're like, you can afford to lose it because you should beat Karat. And you only need to win one of those two games. It didn't matter which one. So it's
yeah,
certainly a disappointing performance there. But again, it's not necessarily quality of the opposition. Inter Milan far better, right, than Forest. But it is that thing against those low blocks, and a good low block side. Liverpool did it really well against the City. Nearly got away with it against us as well. Is hard to break
yeah,
down, but. And it comes back to the criticism I had last season of Mikel Arteta. So I believe Mikel Arteta is a good manager who can win the league. But you look back to last season, there were too many times where we were too slow. Now, partly that was about probably trying to protect whatever players we had left, but which we don't
mm,
have to the same extent this season. But there are times when we are too slow, and it is this sort of desire for control. And I think my criticism of Arsenal this season is we do it the wrong way round. we sort of control the game, and sometimes look, you're going to a big 8 o'clock kickoff at St James's Park or something like that. You probably want to try and control the game, quieten the crowd down a little bit because it's
yeah,
probably. But most of the time, you're doing it the wrong way round. What we should be doing is going all out big, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. If you can get a goal or two, that changes the game. They've got to come out at you. And you saw on Tuesday what happens when teams come out at you. We do it the other way around, which is we control, quieten down, and then go, oh, it's still 0-0 and there's 30 minutes to go. We probably better ramp it up a little bit. Well, you're giving yourself 30 minutes to win the game, not 90. And I think that for me is a big criticism. But I think you will see a different intensity because it's just human nature. But also you'll see a different game because Forest was attack v defense pretty much. This was attack v defense versus attack v defense. Both sides were sort of going.
Yeah, but both sides, yeah.
You see the difference between it. But undoubtedly, it was a poor performance against Forest and a very disappointing result.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, Conversations TV says the balance was what we need to start to find wall to bit low blocks, definitely. And he also says something there. He says, Arteta got it wrong. We needed AJ to start. Regardless, I'm positive, and this season feels different. Well, see, Conversations, I'm out of that positive thing. Right now, what I'm on right now is Arsenal is going for a treble. That's what I'm on right now, bro. Bro, you have to match the energy, bro. You're still on that, maybe we'll not win. Bro, I'm on the energy of we're going for a treble. And bro, we're not far from it.
Treble? We could win 4. I mean, I don't think we will win 4. We're in
my days.
But I think Conversation is right here.
Dom, I don't want people to start calling you top gooner around here, bro. They'll say you're the toppest of goonies.
I mean, I don't think we're going to win the quadruple. That would be something. I don't think that's ever been done before like that. But Conversation is right. I will start Ezra against Forest.
Conversations. I'm totally off. I'm off my rocker right now. Yeah. If we go and do the madness against Chelsea, because bro, they are coming down to the Emirates. If they come down to the Emirates, do you think they're gonna beat us? The answer is no. If we meet Man City in the finals, bro, we're just coming off a win, from Inter Milan, bro. Which other team should be scaring us right now? I'm not scared of Man City. Mostly after what Manchester United did to them. I'm not scared of them. That's a final to win in the Carabao Cup. That's one cup easy. With 7 points adrift on the top of the table in the Premier League, 7 points now. If they flop against Wolves, 10 points done.
I mean, I'll be very surprised if they mess up against Wolves, to be fair, but you never know. I mean, Wolves on a decent run at the moment, but I'd be surprised if
they're on a decent. I mean, the fighting relegation. Anything can happen.
Yeah,
so it is what it is. Also, mathematically, they're not out yet. They still have a chance to crawl out and get something. Even if I know that they're done with, but they still have the chance, so they're still fighting. Look at what they did against United. They fought for points against us. They fought for points. So, bro, I think they will give Man City a big fight when it comes to the game on I think
Saturday
on Sunday too.
No, Saturday 3:00.
So there's a chance for us to just try and get something, bro. Yeah, and that will be the second trophy. We still have the FA Cup, and please don't tell me a conversation. Don't tell me there's anyone out there in Europe that has the cojones to come and stand up to us, bro. The best team in the world, you guys were talking about, Bayern Munich, we smacked them up. Atletico Madrid, Olympiacos, Inter Milan in San Siro. Bro, what else? Real Madrid, we did them dirty last season. Dom, what else? I mean, come on, man. Dom, you have to back me up on this one, yeah. I mean, okay, Dom, let me put it to you in this way, yeah. Conversations hates it when I do this thing, yeah. He doesn't like it when I do this thing. See, Dom, yeah, let me get this true, yeah. Which team should we be scared of in Europe? Just before we go, let's just do this.
I mean, I don't think you need to be scared of anyone in the league or in Europe. Arsenal, I think, have the best squad in the league. I think they have a good manager, but one that's still relatively inexperienced. And we certainly don't have the best manager, but we have the best squad. And we have one of the best starting 11s. And we have a real plan and identity about us. So I don't think you need to be scared of anyone. But I also think there are other sides in Europe capable of winning the Champions League too. And as I said earlier, one poor performance and you can be out, and that's all it can take. So I think we have to take a little bit of a lesson from last year where Paris Saint-Germain won it despite only just squeaking through qualification. Liverpool were going out in the last 16, having dominated the first half of the Champions League. But I think this Arsenal side is a better side than that Liverpool one last season. I really do. And I think
Spot in Lisbon beat PSG.
Yeah.
They beat them a couple of days ago, bro.
Yeah.
Really, are they the ones we should be fearing? Are they the ones that we should fear?
No.
Yeah. So, Dom, give me your name in Europe that we should be scared of right now, that we should quake in our boots right now.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think there's anyone there, but that doesn't mean that you win the Champions League automatically. But you've got to be confident about it, and you've got to feel good going about it. Whereas I think in the league, I just don't think anyone can live with us over 38 teams.
See, people, you know what? I think Dom thinks we're gonna win the Champions League. He just wants to be in the right corner, yeah. He doesn't just want to say it out. I'm just saying.
I think we can, but I don't necessarily think we will. I think we'll go to at least the semi-finals. I think we'll win the league, and I think we'll win a cup, a domestic cup. But if we can win the Champions League, we cock a hoot. I'd love to be wrong. I just think that probably going deep in all four competitions, something will give somewhere. It is my gut feeling that if it happens in a Champions League game, that would be curtains for the Champions League because it's that easy to go out. But certainly, as I say, you shouldn't be scared of anyone. There's no need to be scared of anyone at all.
Yeah, I mean, see, Dom, it's Thierry Henry saying that it's probable that we might win a quadruple. All these podcasters are saying it, bro. Who am I? I mean, legends are saying it. I mean, Roy Keane is saying it. That Arsenal might win a quadruple this season, bro. I mean, who am I? People, who am I to actually say that we're not going to win this thing? So it is what it is at this point.
Well, look, we can dream, right? Absolutely. Why should we not, right? But the reason I'm hesitant at saying we're going to win the quadruple, and I said it earlier, but it was in jest, is because it's never been done before. But a team like Leicester winning the Premier League had never been done before. An invincible season, never been done before. A triple before Manchester United did it, never been done before. So you never know.
You never know.
The squad depth is there, and I think the manager is good enough to do it. But obviously, if you had Sir Alex Ferguson at his peak or something like that, you'd feel more comfortable because they've been there, done that, which Mikel Arteta hasn't. And that, I can understand the concern there, but I do think he's good enough to get us there. I really do.
Yeah, definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this show, people. Dom, every time he brings the heat all the time, people. See, big up to Conversations, man. I mean, I miss our conversations, my bro. We need to get a show going on, my bro. Yeah, probably maybe next week. Let's get to do something. Maybe on your channel or my channel, no problem, man. Let's get it on. Yeah. And see, Dom, what do you have coming up, bro? And give us your prediction for the matchup on Sunday before you go.
I haven't thought about it yet, Tony. I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal on Sunday, but that might well change by the time I get my reaction out, preview out, because I'll think about it properly. What are you going Sunday?
I'm going 3-1. I think we're exhaust our team on Sunday.
I think
we do them dirty.
I think we need to as well. I think, just getting after 2 draws, you want to go and win that game. But what have I got? I've got a video out tomorrow on. It's around the idea of Jesus and Gyökeres, actually, which is both of them playing well, and which one do you start? But it's actually a little bit deeper than that, which is about Mikel Arteta obviously is rotating, but should he be rewarding players for playing well more? And it's sort of a little bit reflecting on Eze and Madueke, who and sort of what's happened to them. But I think it's also a consequence of, and I'm sort of spoiling the video now, you don't have to go and watch it. But it's also a consequence of you've got such a good squad and such good competition. But I also had one today talking about the financial results that came out today, and before you all fall asleep, it actually sort of talks about that in the narrative of, well, Arsenal are the only ones that should win the league this season because they've spent more. Well, actually, the finances, when you look at it, comparison doesn't say that. So that's quite an interesting watch if you're, it's not just numbers. It goes a little bit deeper than that. And to do that in 3 minutes wasn't easy, but I was quite proud of that video, actually.
Yeah, definitely. I'll go finish that video up anyway. So see, people, go and subscribe to Conversations. Go subscribe to the Arsenal Domination. And Dom, I hope you've also subscribed to Conversations. Please subscribe to the guy. He's a great guy. Please, yeah. I've worked with him on Flawless channel, a big channel we both used to go to. He's still there, but I'm no more there again because I used to. Of course, you know the time difference in my country, yeah. So I couldn't keep up with, with the show too, on a personal level. When they're on, I should be sleeping, bro. Um, you know, yeah, I should be sleeping, bro. So, but it is what it is. One of these days we'll still get something doing. But Conversations was one of my favorites. In fact, it was one of the favorite persons I've loved to work with. Among the people that I did that show with, I've already worked with Flawless, quite great guy. But Conversations, I resonate with him more than any other person. So it's all good. So hopefully, let's get that show done. And people subscribe to Arsenal domination, my brother Dom. Yeah, if you want to see him just go off, people uninterrupted, because I interrupted quite a lot, people. I interrupted quite a lot. So please go to his channel, go watch him uninterrupted. I mean, great channel. He's doing great things. He's pushing, he's scaling his channel. So people go support him when you come back to watch this show. Please make sure you go subscribe to him. So people, I will be with Oregon Gunner in the next 3 minutes. So catch us with that one here, people. From me and Dom from the Arsenal Clinic, we are out, people. Catch you soon next week, people.